Hello, everybody. Welcome to our celebration of Brian Jaffee and Camp Young Judea Midwest. Round of applause. We are so thrilled to have you here today. My name is Julie Ruskin Ohana, for those of you I do not know, and I am a lucky member of the CYJ board. I am an alumni and I am a current CYJ IMA. So I'm thrilled to be able to help put together this amazing event to honor such a wonderful, special person like Brian, who I have to tell you, was trying to think of when the first time I met Brian was, and I have no recollection. And I thought that that would make that so apropos because I can't tell you one single story. All I remember is that my CYJ experience always included Brian Jaffee. Brian was a fixture at camp in the lives of so many people, and we are all of us so happy to celebrate him. So let's give a shout out to the Jaffee family over there. Give us a wave, everybody. Hello, Jaffee crew. We're so happy to see you all, to hear from you in a little bit. And right now we're going to kick off our program by hearing from our board president, Barbara Bauman.
Hey, thank you, Julie. I'm Barbara Bauman. I'm the board chair for CYJ Midwest. I am so honored to be here today, singing Brian's praises about the amazing work he did as board chair for the past 6 years, and describing the huge shoes that I now have to fill in the years ahead. It's great to see so many wonderful friends here, people I met through CYJ, and who are as excited as I am to honor Brian. I've known Brian a long time. I agree with Julie. Brian's just always been a part of CYJ for me. And in 1990, we had the opportunity to work together at CYJ Midwest. Brian, Barry Finestone, and I spoke at Yom Hadassah that summer in appreciation of the tireless work the camp committee members did to support and promote camp. As a teen, Brian understood the importance of supporting our community, honoring those who give of their time and resources to make communities happen. I'm so thankful that he turned that understanding into a career and continues to give back to camp through his volunteering. So 31 years ago, Brian, Barry, and I spoke about the positive influence CYJ had on our lives. And today, we continue to feel that influence through our children, our friends, the careers we've chosen, and our connection to our Jewish communities. CYJ Midwest touched our lives in 1990 and continues into 2021 and beyond. To me, that's the power of camp. When Noah Gallagher asked Brian to be a CYJ board member, he had many reasons. But the one that stood out to me is that he asked Brian because, quote, Brian is beloved by the CYJ community. Beloved. It's so true. Brian went on to serve 2 terms as board chair, and he transformed the board, which in turn transformed camp and what camp is able to do. Each committee and board chair has a hand in contributing to CYJ Midwest. Brian's contributions are many. They include formalizing the board structure, overseeing the development of active committees, and doubling and tripling the fundraising efforts. Brian initiated the plans for the 50th celebration, which one day, somehow, when the pandemic is over, we will make happen. Brian created a culture on the board in which people enjoy being board members. People look forward to meetings, and camp supporters truly feel the passion and the energy that propels CYJ forward. Brian has also helped CYJ Midwest maintain a strong connection to the Young Judea network. Altogether, Brian is visionary. He conveys that vision to everyone around him, inspiring us all to be our best selves. Brian, thank you for living up to the Young Judea aspiration, Ani v'ata nishane et ha'olam. You, Brian, have truly changed the world. Thank you. It is now my pleasure to introduce the amazing Executive Director of Camp Young Judea Midwest, an incredible partner to the board, the person who brings camp to life each summer and keeps everything going throughout the year, Robin Anderson.
Hi, everyone. Nice to see all of you here today. I'm really excited to be able to share a few words with you and with Brian. So during the 2015 Thanksgiving week, Brian and I had our first official meeting as we started a transition for both of us. And I wanted to jump right in as director. And Brian said to me on the phone, he said, take your time, make sure each decision is what you need and what the camp needs. And it was the start of many years of incredible advice, mentorship for a very newly minted camp director, and next steps for Camp Young Judea Midwest. Brian, over the past 6 years, we appreciate you volunteering for that second term. Thank you. CYJ has learned from your passion, your drive, and your leadership. Through your tenure as board chair, CYJ has increased and hit record enrollment numbers. We have continued to build a successful and devoted board of directors, which, by the way, my colleagues are really jealous of the partnership that the volunteers and staff have. We increased fundraising dollars. We started an endowment fund, and we created a sustainable legacy initiative to honor future gifts. We have engaged more alumni in the past 6 years than ever before, including for the 2022 season. We have already enrolled over 50 second-generation campers. We weathered one of the hardest 18 months of CYJ's history, made the unbearable decision to close our doors in 2020, and then came out stronger to create an experience in 2021 that everyone needed so desperately. None of it was easy. It took the work of a team with you at the helm. And when problems came up, and they always do in every project, you were there to help us navigate them effectively and with a piece of advice that only you could give. You make each person on the team feel valued and listened to. Our camp is better as a result of your leadership, and the words thank you don't go far enough to express the gratitude this camp community owes you. CYJ Midwest's future is bright. You continue the spirit of our previous board presidents, and your wisdom will be passed on to the next group of board leaders. On a personal note, I am privileged to have had the opportunity to work with you in the board chair director partnership. I laugh when we had our weekly check-ins and my husband sitting in the other room yelling, "Tell Brian hi from his favorite APAC Ohio chair." I have loved watching your daughters continue on the CYJ legacy, including seeing them rock the most awesome vintage t-shirts. And we have both learned together throughout these past 6 years, and I am so proud to call you a friend, a colleague, and a mentor. Now, I am happy to introduce two people who embody the CYJ Ruach. They know most, if not all of you, from their CYJ or from their YJ days, their Cincinnati days, from their personal and professional times. Please welcome Ellen and Barry Finestone.
Hi, everybody. I've got to get myself back on track here. One sec. Up. Sorry, hold on one second here. Shit. Barry, you want to start, honey?
Sure. Well, I am coming to you live from the Midwest, from Chicago, visiting my mother, and Ellen is on the West Coast at home. So just like most of you, we can use this gathering to be together even when there is distance between us. And we have been given the honor to toast Brian this afternoon or this evening, wherever you might be. So let us begin. How do you spell Brian? Well, B, we think, is for boyish. Ever since we met Brian, he has always and still has that cheeky twinkle in his eye, kind of the look of a kid who just managed to get away with something. R is for ridiculous. Brian has a real fun side to him that I in particular have had the pleasure to see over the last 30 years. We still reference our favorite Beavis and Butthead lines, our full-on manic love affair with Blazing Saddles, and one of our favorite games to play, is walking down a busy street people watching and attaching a trait from people we see and attaching that to a very famous person. On our walks, we have encountered such luminaries as Al Pacino, Dustin Hoffman, Golda Meir, Katie Couric, to name just a few.
I is for Israel. Yep, got it. Thank you. I is for Israel. The country has had an enormous impact on Brian, and Brian has had an enormous impact on it. Year course, Hamag Shemim, his amazing work with students at APAC, JCRC, and now his current professional role at the Jewish Foundation of Cincinnati, as well as his leadership as chair of CYJ. Israel has remained central to Brian. During his lifetime, he has truly immersed himself in the land and people of Israel, and therefore becoming directly involved in the greatest experiment in the history of our people. A is for all in. Brian is an all-in kind of person. He values friendship greatly, and this Zoom call is proof positive of all his relationships he has worked on and valued over the years.
N is for nikayon, the Hebrew word for cleaning up. No toast about Brian is complete without a baseball reference. Now that could easily be a reference to that great moment on November 3rd, 2016, about 12:47 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, when the Cubs beat his beloved Indians in Game 7 of the World Series. But rather, I chose nikayon as a reference to the cleanup hitter on a baseball team. The player whose place in the lineup is down to their ability to hit well and bring his teammates home. Brian is that guy, carefully crafting teams, working with others, and bringing everyone together all the time. Sorry about that. And now we'll take a crack at spelling out CYJ. C is for Camp Young Judea Midwest. Brian, what you have done at camp is tremendous. Your dedication to camp as chair was transformative. And particularly during this pandemic, your leadership in supporting Robin and her team to run a safe program last summer, and all the countless hard decisions that had to be made along the way. Camp has always been a priority, and for that, everyone on this Zoom is incredibly grateful.
Y. Y is for yay. This is the part where your participation, everyone on the Zoom, is requested. Please join us in raising your real or virtual glasses if you have. If you don't have a glass nearby, here are some options on how to say yay to Brian. Maybe you simply want to put your hands together and applause. Or maybe you want to bring your hands to your heart like this. Let's see, everyone. Show Brian. Show him your love. Or maybe do a namaste. Bring your palms together and bow your head, demonstrating how much you appreciate everything he's done for us. Perhaps you want to be a little bit more creative by shaking a fist, holding up a sign, or maybe dancing in place. But please remember, the Zoom is being recorded, so don't do anything you'll regret. So getting back to the most natural way that we toast, simply raise a glass and toasting our friend Brian Jaffee. Please join me in wishing Brian l'chaim. Echad, shtaim, shalosh. L'chaim, Brian. Cheers.
Cheers, Brian, for being you and for sharing your beautiful spirit with this community. Look around this virtual room, on the screen and in the room where you are in Cincinnati, and all the people who applaud you for your contributions to CYJ, the Jewish community, your friends, family, and more. Brian, you're a true mensch, and Ellen and I are proud to call you our dear friend. Mazel tov.
And finally, J. J is for Jewish. Judaism is at the center of his life. I mean, he married an amazing rabbi, right? We are firm believers in the notion that apples don't fall far from trees. Brian's parents instilled this love of Jewish life in him from the very beginning, and now he and Shana are carrying on that sacred work with Noah and Maya. We are confident that the Jewish people are in good hands with Brian as a leader in our community. We need more Brian Jaffees in the world, and lucky for us, we are friends with the OG, the original. Mazel tov, Brian, we love you. And from everyone on the Zoom and beyond, know how grateful we are to be part of your life and how much we appreciate everything that you do. We love you. And now I'd like to introduce my dear friend, Alana Harris-Shanzer.
Hi, everybody. Thanks, Ellen and Brian. Thanks, Ellen and Barry. That was great and really beautiful and touching. And I'm Alana Harris-Shanzer, an old camp friend of Brian's and now a CYJ mom. Brian, there's no doubt you have made an impact on CYJ as a chenich, a madrich, and a board member. Your dedication to camp and your Cincinnati community is inspiring. This is abundantly clear from the number of people who have contributed and shared messages in your honor. I want to thank you all for your generosity, and I know Brian will appreciate your good wishes. Brian, this book is a keepsake for you to treasure always. All of you, please keep an eye out for an email this week with a link to view the memory book. Now, Brian, we're going to play a little game of CYJ trivia. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
What do I win?
Let's see how you do first. Okay. Okay. Which is your favorite CYJ campsite?
It's a tough one.
Ortonville, Nelsonville, or Wapaka?
It's a tough one. It's like deciding which of my children I love the most, but I think I have to go with Wapaka.
Okay. Good choice. What is your favorite camp cheer?
That's easy. We are Machon.
I believe you need to
Oh, like, you know, like the Queen song, you know, we are Machon. There you go.
Nice. Thanks, David. Okay. What's your favorite shira song?
Im Tirtzu, but only if David sings it like 106 times with me on continuous repeat.
We won't do that today, though. Okay.
We're ahead of schedule.
What is your favorite shira shketa song?
Zemer Nugeh, also known as Hatishma Koli.
Only Brian Jaffee could possibly answer this question. What is your favorite tiyul?
Another easy one, the bike tiyul from Elroy to Sparta, 32 miles of beautiful Wisconsin, you know, countryside.
Remembered by all. Can you name all of the madrichim you had as chenich?
No, no, I cannot. Linda Echt was definitely my first one. I can't remember in 1985. 1986 was Renee. 87 was Robert Klein, and 88, I think, was Gil Strobel.
I get a yes from David, so okay, good. We can move on. What is your favorite camp activity?
Free swim. Oh yeah. What's your favorite one?
What was your favorite optional mandatory?
In honor of Yoni Shear, great Jews and sports.
And I don't know if this gives it away. What is your favorite trip day destination?
Rainbow Falls, Plover.
And of course, you know exactly where it's located. Awesome. Okay. Here's a tough one. With which team did you have more wins in softball? Chanichim or madrichim?
Madrichim.
Madrichim. Because you had a good sports psychologist.
Yeah, exactly.
What is your favorite camp t-shirt?
1985 for sure. For no other reason because Maya now rocks it and, you know, wears it well. Or it probably doesn't fit you anymore, but.
It's fine. I wouldn't worry about it.
What is your favorite camp meal?
Barry's cholent.
Which Adah theme did you like best?
Leadership, Machon.
Do you remember what is your favorite hotzagah?
It's a tough one, but I'd have to go with the Zion King.
When was that?
Pretty sure it was John Winkle, 1994, 95.
Okay. Can you please share your favorite camp memory as a chanich?
I think it was probably the Aliyah Bet Pula, which was that simulation game where like they wake you up in the middle of the night and like turn you into refugees fleeing Europe and like trying to get past the Nazis and the British and sneak into Palestine, and which, as I'm saying it out loud, sounds absolutely horrifying. And I can't believe we did that, but
You mean when you're 8 years old? And yeah. Okay,
right.
But very memorable. Please share your favorite camp memory as a madrich.
I'm gonna take a page out of Julie Ruskin-Ohana's book, and there's not one favorite memory, but I just think, you know, putting the kids to bed and going into the Chadarochel and just, you know, seeing everyone gather around the tables and working on pulot for the next day and just catching up with people, it's nothing better.
I agree. Those were good times. Okay, now last one. Can you please describe CYJ in 5 words or less?
Foundationally important in my life. Sorry. Was that 5? All right. Thanks, Dan.
Okay, I think David will present you with a prize now that you've won.
Thanks, Alana.
No,
Couldn't do it without you.
Thanks, Alana. I'm David Harris, here in Cincinnati with Brian, where I get the privilege of spending time with him regularly. You know, Brian, who would have thought that a spinning wheel, the spin of a work wheel in our separate srifim in 1987 that landed us both on Torah Nud and the Chadarochel dining room duty would have led to our self-imposed perpetual Torah Nud, still setting up the table and still cleaning up together after Shabbat dinners, filled with shira, with Shana, Maya, and Noah, here in Cincinnati now, 34 years later. It is as fun to be on Torah Nut with you now as it was then, brother. We have had a lot of fun. Like a few years later at Tel Yehuda, the National Young Judea Leadership Camp in New York, when I put a snake in your Cardinals baseball cap. Wasn't that fun, Brian?
A lot of fun.
Like Indiana Jones, Brian hates snakes. I'm pretty sure that after you chased and caught me, the Charlie horse you gave me is the reason I've never been as good as you in sports. I'd like to take this opportunity to publicly apologize for putting a snake in your hat. But it was a small snake, and it was really funny. But you stood by our friendship, and years later, when we were both on year course and I decided to make Aliyah and not be your roommate at Wisconsin as we'd planned, you still stood by our friendship. And a few years later, when at your wedding, I orchestrated you getting catapulted into the air on a tablecloth during the Hora, giving your mother a conniption fit from which she still has not recovered or forgiven me, you stood by our friendship still. Brian, I've always admired your loyalty, which, like your warmth, is boundless, as you bring even more people into your circle, as evidenced by all of those that are here today and here in spirit. I'm so grateful that others before us created and sustained CYJ Midwest, which fostered the close friendships and instilled in us the values that we cherish among our friends still today. And that gave us a chance to both be living in Cincinnati and working in the Jewish community, planning vacations with our friends from camp, still breaking into a rendition of Caravan of Love now and then, and still quoting movie lines to one another all these years later. It's a privilege to be helping camp and honoring you today, and I hope that generations to come will have the opportunities that we had. And what a joy it has been to work with everyone on the planning committee, the board, and others in planning this event. When we were madrichim, counselors in the Chadarochel during Shira and Erev Shabbat, I used to get on your shoulders, and even sometimes you would get on mine as we led the song Lo Alecha. You've embodied the spirit in the song in your efforts for CYJ. It is not on you to finish the work, but neither are you free to desist from it. Brian, in addition to the beautiful memory book, we hope that this print of Lo Alecha will conjure up many, many good memories and provide you with much inspiration ahead. I love you, Captain.
Thanks, brother. Wow. Wow. I'm speechless, which is really not a good thing because I'm supposed to give a speech. Captain, you making that presentation and introducing me at this program means the world to me. I don't take the term best friend lightly. I've just been really blessed in my life to use it with two people, one of whom, Josh Rosen, is also here tonight. We grew up in Oberlin together, with whom we share a CYJ connection. And the other one's you, David. You know, for 34 years, we've had this bond. You've been my closest friend and brother through CYJ, Tel Yehuda, your course, New York City, and now Cincinnati. And for those same 34 years, you're probably the most genuine person I've ever known. And I'm thankful every day that you're here in Cincinnati and part of our family with us. And I know how much work you did to put this event together during a period when you weren't exactly loaded down with spare time. And I'm just so grateful to you, and I love you. Thanks, brother. I also want to begin tonight by thanking your co-chair, Julie Ruskin-Ohana, and the entire committee, Ellen Feinstone, Alana Harris-Shanzer, Mindy Nagorski-Israel, and Abby Levine. Julie, for nearly 30 years, you've been such a bright light in whatever room we've been in together. Your love for CYJ Midwest and all the people in it is infectious, and we are so lucky to have you working on the CYJ board now. And Ellen, Alana, Mindy, and Abby, I'm forever in your debt for the love and the care and the dedication that you used to pull this program together and to reach out to so many people to support camp. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. This is a picture of my first day of camp in the summer of 1984. I don't have a picture of my last day at camp because I don't think there will ever be a last day of camp for me. CYJ Midwest is a place that, perhaps more than any other influence in my life outside of my family, has shaped who I am today. Camp inspired me to think about what it means to be part of something bigger than myself. Camp taught me a love of Israel and captured my imagination about how Israel and peoplehood fit into the larger Jewish story. Camp instilled Jewish values in me and showed me what a movement can achieve. At camp, I honed critical life and leadership skills, and most importantly, camp provided some of the best lifelong friends I've ever made. An extended family that helped me make sense of the world, succeed in the world, and try to make the world a better place. CYJ will forever remain a touchstone, full of memories and experiences that are the contours of how I see myself as a Jewish leader. So there is no last day of camp picture. What I do have is a picture of my daughter's first day at CYJ, taken 33 years after mine in 2017. Maya and Noah have their own relationship with CYJ. It's not bound up in my identity. But the fact that they have had their own camp experiences, along with my nieces, Hannah and Rachel, and so many others, is a constant reminder for me that while CYJ is a foundational component of my past, it is also very much about the present and the future. The chanichim and sevet, campers and staff at CYJ today, fill me with awe. They are doing so much more than maintaining the traditions that resonated with me. They are leading the way by creating new traditions of their own and translating CYJ's mission for a generation that still believes, as Barbara said, Ani ve'ata nishaneh et ha'olam, you and I will change the world. I do not have the words to express how moved and how appreciative I am that all of you are here today, and that you and so many others have joined together in honoring the past while strengthening the present and helping to secure the future of CYJ Midwest. Whether you're here because of your own connection to CYJ, because of our shared connection, or because of our personal relationship and your appreciation for what this place means to me. And here, I really do want to just pause for a moment and give a shout out to my present day community of Cincinnati, who has just been so supportive of this event and supportive of me. And I so appreciate everyone locally who's here tonight. But irrespective of how you got here, you've banded together to propel CYJ Midwest forward with this event. And I can't thank you enough for that. What I would like to try to do is thank several people whom I believe reflect those attributes about camp that I outlined a few moments ago. And I want to start at the beginning with Miffy Nagorski and the Nagorski family, who, along with several other contemporaries at the time, really built and sustained CYJ Midwest throughout the last 50 years plus through their leadership in Hadassah and Young Judea. Miffy, ever since I was a little kid, you've been an inspiration and a role model to me. You've exemplified what it means to take up a cause and to work tirelessly to advance that cause no matter what. I'm not sure it ever occurred to me when I was younger that I should try to be like you when I got older. And to be clear, I will never achieve that. But these past 6 years as board president have given me just a sliver of a glimpse of the unending work that you've done and that you continue to do for camp. And you and Cy and And Brian and Mindy and your grandkids, you all remind me and you inspire me to keep working for CYJ. And I'm just sending you a lot of love and appreciation through the Zoom screen tonight. Another individual leader and family that I want to acknowledge is Linda Raven, who, like Miffy, continues to serve on the CYJ board despite having long ago earned the right to take a rest. Linda and the Raven family, my chanichim, my peers, my dear friends, embody the spirit of CYJ Midwest and have contributed to so many of the memories that makes camp special to me. Thank you so much. Miffy and Linda represent a generation of Hadassah leaders and CYJ Midwest stakeholders who are too many to call out by name, but they're from Lexington and Chicago and Pittsburgh and Detroit and Cincinnati and Lorain and so many communities throughout the Midwest. Many of you are at this event today, and I hope you know how much we appreciate all that you've done and continue to do for camp. Thanks to those original founders and sustainers, CYJ was there when I came along in 1984, but I wouldn't have gone had my parents, Mark and Kathy Jaffee, not sent me. Mom and Dad, I'm so grateful to you for giving me that gift and for setting me on a path that has made my life so much richer. You really do set the gold standard for raising a Jewish family, and it's just not every day that I get an opportunity to say that in front of 100 or so of my closest friends and community members, and just to tell you how much I love you. And to my sister Sarah, who's in Philadelphia with her husband, Alan Haber, and their family. Sarah, you're not only my big sister at home, but we've shared adventures at CYJ as well, growing up there and sending our own kids to camp. I love you and H and Rach and Alan and all the Haberlach so much. And of course, this also extends to my family here in Cincinnati. Shana, you spent a lot of time watching Netflix by yourself while I went back to emails and fundraising reports, but you never failed to support what we're trying to do for camp here. And tonight's a chance for me to say thank you to you for that. And Maya and Noah, as I've said before, you've got your own relationship to CYJ. I hope today's program is a reflection of why that matters and why a lifetime of friendship and involvement and shared mission can make your lives so much fuller and more enjoyable. I love you so much. There are a lot of people that I went to camp with and worked at camp with that have been on my mind as we've been preparing for this event. And this is the hardest part of my remarks today. I've spent the last 37 minutes scrolling through the Zoom screens, and I see all of you. Each one of you reminds me of a story, of a memory that when woven together makes such a beautiful tapestry in my life. And I wish there was more time to tell those stories, to share those memories. And I need each of you to know how much I miss you, how much I'm looking forward to seeing you when we're finally able to convene that 50-ish reunion, hopefully soon. I was fortunate to have the opportunity to introduce Barry Feinstone when he came to Cincinnati a few years back to keynote an event for us. And that was a chance for me to explain how much Barry means, the impact that Barry had on me and an entire generation of CYJ chanichim and Sevet. I thought it would be appropriate today to thank Barry and Ellen again on behalf of all of the people that I went to camp with and worked with. You devoted so many summers to so many of us, helping us become the best versions of ourselves. And Barry and Ellen, to this day, whenever I'm with you, you remind me of those special groups of people that we got to be with. And every time it's like pushing the sun up into the sky for one more day of summer. And I just love you both so much and really appreciate you. And since you're representing a cohort of CYJers from our era, what I'm really saying is I love you to all of you. My CYJ identity is, of course, inextricably linked to my identity as a young Judean. And I'm just grateful for all of the experiences I've had in young Judea. And I'm glad that Barbara mentioned the connection to the broader YJ. I know that Adina Friedman and colleagues are here representing the YJ Global team, and we thank you for your support. And we hope that all the young Judeans out there will join on November 7th for the YJ Global benefit, where CYJ Midwest's own Allison Goldberg is one of the honorees, along with Fanny and Roger Corman. As I said before, growing up at camp, it never occurred to me that there would be board service one day, but here we are. This board experience has been a tremendous and unforgettable chapter, one that I would not have been prepared for were it not for the preparation from my predecessor, Amy Hemmermesh, who served for more than a decade on the CYJ board and who continues to give so generously of her time and resources. as well as Noah Gallagher, who is not only CYJ's director for 8 years, but someone with whom I shared 35 years of camp memories, and who in 2014 was the one person who said to me what are probably 4 of the most important words in the English language: I need your help. It's been such an honor and a privilege to serve with my fellow board members, so many loyal, hardworking, and generous people who've really helped our camp and the organization just go to a completely new era. To all the board members who are on this Zoom, we all owe you our deepest gratitude for everything that you contribute, and we thank you. And in talking about leadership, what can I say about Barbara Bauman? Barbara, one of my madrichim, my first merekezet as a staff member, and who's taken the reins of leadership of this board, and who in just a few short months has already taken the job to a completely new level. Barbara, your deep and abiding connection to CYJ and to Young Judea, and your perseverance in the pursuit of excellence is exactly what I needed and what this board needed when you joined 5 years ago and when you agreed to take the presidency last year. We thank you, and I just am so looking forward to continuing to be inspired by you and learning from you in the years ahead. And finally, Robin, what a journey. Thank you so much for what you said. I feel all of it too. You know, from not really knowing each other very well when we got started, you know, despite each having long associations with CYJ, to forging a partnership, to developing a true bond that is based on mutual trust and a shared love of camp. I am just in awe and filled with enormous appreciation for your work ethic, your skill and acumen, your focus on ensuring that CYJ always remains an inclusive place for campers of all Jewish backgrounds and remains as strong as possible. I'll also miss our weekly phone calls, but I hope you know, Robin, that I am always available to you for whatever you need, and I'm just deeply in your debt. I'm sending that a big thank you to you and to the entire CYJ staff, in particular Kevin Freitas, who does so much work behind the scenes and in front of the curtain to make everything just look and sound and feel great, including tonight's event. So thank you, Kevin, and thank you, Robin. Robin and Kevin and the team of volunteers have obviously adapted to radically changing circumstances during the last couple of years. And while so much of this pandemic has been about loss and too many have suffered during it, it's also possible to talk about what we've gained during this time. I never would have imagined that an event like this could feel the way that it has on Zoom. And I could feel the same thing. I could say the same thing about the alumni committee events and the Zoom week, the Decades Week Zoom meetings that we did last year. As a CYJ family, we've used this time to reconnect with camp, to reconnect with each other, to remind ourselves of this time and place that was so seminal in our growth and development, and that needs to continue to be supported in order for generations after us to benefit. So I want to close where I began and just take one more moment to say something as personally as I can to each of you. If I have one regret about my time on the board, it's that it was easy to just get so wrapped up in budgets and enrollment trends and fundraising strategies and COVID reports that I didn't always take the time each week or each month to find one of you and pick up the phone and catch up for a while. Pepper, keep a lid on. And I want to make more of those calls now that a little more time is being freed up. And I hope that you know how much you are always on my mind, how important you are to me, and how important you are to CYJ Midwest. Thank you all again for today. This has been an incredible gift that I have already cherished and that I will keep with me for the rest of my life. Thank you all so much.
Brian, thanks so much for your words and for all that you've done again. We have a couple other pieces of the program. As you heard earlier, CYJ Midwest has been engaged in a legacy gift campaign, CYJ Forever. And I am really privileged to introduce the current chairs of the initiative, Dan Vogel and Dan Richter. For those of you not familiar with the concept of a hotzagah, no camp event is complete without some sort of a little skit or play. So please enjoy.
So Vogel, I head out from Pittsburgh and make my way out to Wisconsin. Anyway, I get on as madrich at the Zionist camp over in Wapaka.
Wait, you, Richter, a madrich?
Yeah, you know, a madrich, a camp counselor, a quasi-adult, a college student. You know, so I tell them I'm this WPA, or I hang out at the office after school every day in Pittsburgh. I've dealt with all sorts. You know who they give me as a camper?
No, I don't.
Brian Jaffee himself, the younger brother of Sarah Jaffee. The freckled face, the really short late 80s shorts, the pasty white skin, Cleveland sports teams. You know, so I take him out to the Frisbee golf course, you know, to see what he can do. I've heard he can play basketball, but how does he handle the plastic?
The Jaffee? Frolf? Really?
Hey man, this is Wapaka. There's barely enough room for a course. Anyway, so he calls for a 165-gram disc, you know, a driver, big thrower, the Jaffee. Anyway, he throws it, and you know where it goes?
Hey, you're like the sun's like just shift over a little bit because the sun's really anyway. So under the roof of the Chadarochel?
Nah. It goes right into Lake Stratton, down in the mud, not even in the swimming area. Anyway, Jaffee looks at me and he says, "Cheery bim."
Cheery bomb?
Cheery bim bum bim bum bim bum.
Okay, Richter. So then what?
So we finished the session. We only lose a couple kids, I think. We're all boarding the buses back home. You know, I'm heading back to Pittsburgh. We drop him off at Cleveland. He gets off the bus and I'm there. And I'm just standing there, you know, waiting. There's these noxious diesel fumes coming out of the bus. So I finally tell his parents, I say, hey, look, you know, how about a tip for the effort? So Jaffee looks at his folks and he tells them, I got this.
Wait, he has the tip?
The tip? At his age, he barely has enough money for a Dairy Queen Blizzard. Anyways, he says, there won't be any money now, but when you die on your deathbed, you will achieve total peace because you will know that you've signed up for the CYJ Legacy Society. So I got that going for me, which is nice.
Brian, Dan and I want to thank you for all of your enthusiasms. That which gives you joy for Camp Young Judea as a camper, as a counselor, a parent, and also as president of the board. For anyone that would like to join Brian, Dan, and myself and become a member of the CYJ Legacy Society by sending a gift as part of Admev Esrim, your will, to Camp Young Judea, as well as helping us meet our matching goals, which will deliver money to Young Judea right now for the people that sign up, please send an email to info@cyjmid.org, and we will get in touch with you soon. Brian, congratulations on this well-deserved honor, and we wish you much happiness in the future and last president of the board positions. Take care.
Well, that was something, right? Thank you, Dan Richter, Dan Vogel, for anyone on here that knows you guys. That was truly you, and we love seeing you. Thank you for doing it. Thank you for supporting camp through the Legacy program and all you do. Thank you everyone who has signed on tonight, who has joined this program. I think it is abundantly clear how loved Brian is and how much love there is for camp all around. One more exciting thing that I want to share with everybody tonight, our goal for this program, for this event honoring Brian, was to fundraise $200,000, and we are so close. We have just north of $173,000 raised, And we could not be more proud of over 230 donors that gave so generously to camp to celebrate Brian, to celebrate CYJ. But it gets better because we have an anonymous donor who has decided that if you still want to give, and you can give through November 1st up to $12,500, your donation is going to be matched dollar for dollar. So we are incredibly lucky to have this anonymous donor. We appreciate all of the efforts so much. And really, we appreciate all of you. I've always said that it takes a village. CYJ is definitely our village. We are so lucky that Brian has been at the helm of that village for all the years that he is. And we just are incredibly happy that we got to celebrate you tonight, Brian, that we will continue to celebrate camp. And in closing, Ellen Feinstone made just a few of your friends got together over online and made some interesting, fun comments for you. So we're gonna roll that. Thank you everyone for joining us. Have a wonderful, wonderful night. Thank you for the celebration.
Okay, so I'm going to attempt to tell you the thing that I admire most about Brian Jaffee in less than 10 seconds. I'm going to tell you I'm going to fail at this. I'm going to go on for a while. So here's the deal, Brian. After seeing you again on Zoom, after all these years, it's just so apparent how, like, 2 seconds into talking to you, your warmth and your love and your heart just comes pouring out of you. You make everyone in your presence just happy and feel good and important. You give a lot to this world. You give a lot to CYJ. You give a lot to all of us. And we are incredibly grateful for you. Thank you for being you.
Brian, Ellen, and I got all dressed up to tell you how proud we are of the work that you've done for Young Judea, and we love you so much.
Brian, I very much enjoyed my overnight summer camp experience in New York. Unfortunately, that camp is now a Catholic revival camp, and it causes me great consternation. And all I know is that if you were on that board, Sedgwick would still be burning bright in the firmament of overnight Jewish day camps. Oh, God. Close enough.
What I admire most about Brian has got to be his knowledge of arcane sports statistics. I mean, I suppose his integrity and loyalty also, but mainly it's the sports. Love you, buddy.
No.
Brian, we are so proud of your loyalty to your friends and your family.
And nobody was more loyal to the Cleveland Indians in the 80s when they were so terrible.
We love you.
What do I admire most about Brian Jaffee? Perhaps it's that he can be an extraordinary Jewish leader and a notorious underground crime figure all at the same time. I love you, brother.
What do we love about Brian Jaffee? Well, first of all, we know that he's an incredible husband and father.
I personally like how camp's still very much a part of your life, like 30-ish years later. It's a big part of your life, and you've made it a big part of our lives, which is very cool.
And those of you watching this video may not know this, but when Brian and David Harris were counselors, they created a song about friendship that was a source of comfort for campers on their last days of camp. And it is still being sung by counselors to campers as the buses depart. The song goes like this. You're never gonna see your friends again. 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 We love you, sweetie. Mazel tov. Mwah.
Brian, you're one of the classiest guys I know, and our kids remember you and David Harris as being two of the best babysitters ever. Love you, man.
Hi, Brian. Your mom and dad Potter over here in Cincinnati. We're so happy and proud of you for the tribute from CYJ, I'm sure, as well as your many other contributions. One of the things I really wanted to mention was the way you, as president of the board, handled the COVID crisis at the camp in 2020, trying to make the decisions about whether to hold camp, not to hold camp, getting everyone to agree, and the way you negotiated that whole process. Very proud of you on that. Right, Potter?
Good one.
Okay.
Brian, CYJ was fortunate to have the right guy at the right place at the right time. Good work.
Jifa Ahuv, my poor man's lobster comrade.
אתה אוהב אדם, אתה חבר אמת יקר, אנחנו אוהבים אותך מאוד, מתגעגעים ומקווים להתראות בקרוב. ביי.
What do I admire most about Brian? Well, contrary to Mars Blackman, it's definitely not your shoes, brother. And thankfully, that fire marshal at CYJ that one summer was wrong. Congrats on everything.
Brian, if there's one thing I admire most about you, it was always your love of the song American Pie. And as a tribute, I'm going to sing it all for you now, all 1,100 minutes of it. A long, long time ago,
What we admire most about Brian is that in any collection of people, he is always the nicest one around.
And his daughters are too. Hi, everyone. It's Yoni and Michal, former Cincinnatians, current New Jerseyans, and longtime Brian Jaffee fans.
Big time Brian Jaffee fans. Big, huge fans.
Huge fans.
Huge fans. Brian, this honor is a tremendous thing for you. Mazal Tov. CYJ is in such good hands with you and its leadership, and camp is in your blood. You love camp. You're often still acting as if you're a camper, and could not be prouder of you, and just wanted to wish you a mazel tov.
We appreciate everything you've done for the Camp Young Judea community and for the broader Jewish community, and we wish we could be there to celebrate with you.
Mazel tov.
The thing that most impresses me about Brian Jaffee is that 30 years later, when I haven't seen him in so long, his warmth and good feel still shines through. And also, I still love his green sweatshirt that remains somewhere among my things.
10 seconds, what I admire most about Brian: vision, humor, passion, integrity, enthusiasm, wisdom, and a lifelong friend.
Brian, the thing we admire about you most is your height.
It's your height, but also your lifelong dedication and commitment to the future of CYJ Midwest and the Jewish people.
Hey Brian, it's JP. So what do I admire most about Brian Jaffee? Well, quite honestly, what I admire most is the fact that you have not aged in 35 years. How is that possible? You have not aged. I imagine if I gave you this t-shirt right now, it would probably fit you and it would look great. Well, congratulations, Brian, and thank you so much for all that you've done for Young Judea. See ya.
Brian, you are an amazing person. You are a mensch among men.
And as a little boy named Yoel once said, you will always be the king of CYJ.